on then all the way to item 13, our CAO's report. Can I get a motion on this? Councillor Stenhouse, go ahead.
That council receive CAO Bill McKinnon's report and action list for information.
All right, thank you. So with that, I'll turn it over to our CAO if there's anything that you'd like to highlight or any additions to your report.
Just one addition, just like to thank through the chair, thank the council for participating in the seniors barbecue, specifically thank the major leads from a staff perspective, Shanda, Callie, Corrine and Ramona, who helped out significantly in the planning and delivery of that event. So I'd like to recognize the staff specifically. And the other elves that were running around helping out.
Ice cream man.
So I think it was well received by the seniors, so we'll leave it at that. Again, you find this hard to believe, but we've started the 2024 budget preparations, and today the RFP for banking services was released. It's available on Alberta Purchasing Connect. It's also will be posted in Facebook and the website, and was advertised in this week's paper. WBM, which is our technology firm, we're starting the transition. They actually have a technician on site today and tomorrow doing some preliminary work. There will be another technician arriving next week to do a validation of the work that's been done to date. We're doing site tours of all the technologies that we have and applications. We're looking for first week of July to go live, but there's all kinds of flurry of activity for them to take over the network support and the like. As council may be aware, and you've seen a new staff person attending tonight's council meeting. We're going through a process specifically on in-house training, and that will continue extensively for the next 4 or 5 months to bring staff up to speed and provide opportunities and deal with some of the vacancies that we have. In terms of the Alberta North Central Alliance, there was a meeting May 30th. The big items there. A bit of feedback, sorry. Big items there where the administrator has been hired for that organization. That was her first meeting. A local firm in town has been hired by that alliance to prepare a website. Some other activities will be happening. One of the major tasks for the new administrator is introductory meetings with the relevant ministers to get across to them what the mandate of the committee is and what the focus of the committee will be and the like. So that is the highlights. I'd be prepared to answer questions.
Councillor Stenhouse.
So this WBM Technologies, is that our new IT people?
Correct.
So Trinus is completely out now? No?
By the first week of July, they would be no longer our vendor of record, yes.
Okay.
Thereabouts.
Okay. Because I know my email account is really having issues with spam emails. Will that be sorted out, or there's
Potentially.
No? Oh.
They have a much more robust firewall and protection. No company out there is going to cut down spam completely. So there's different types of spam. Some of the stuff will be filtered and you will never see it, but there'll always be random emails that get through because they just appear that they're emails, not even though they are spam. There's certain things that no spam filter will.
Yeah, because I've only really experienced this in the last, I'm going to say the last year or so. And my other question was, did we as the town council send a congratulatory letter to the new premier?
There's no direction from council, but I can do that.
Okay, I would like to see that the town of High Prairie Council send a congratulatory letter to the new premier?
Just to the premier or to all the ministers?
Probably for MLA too.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, to everyone, yeah.
That's it for me.
Okay, anyone else? I'm just wondering, what is WBM? Because I thought, you know, in terms of IT contractors, I thought we were working with, our, huh? Yeah, I forget the Alberta
that-
municipalities, but they're.
They're one and the same.
They're one and the same.
So this is the third-party vendor for AUMA.
Oh, okay. That's, okay, that makes sense.
So they're, just for council's information, they also provide all technical support for AUMA itself as an organization.
And several other towns, so that'll be good. They'll have
Right.
some good ideas of what towns need. I think that's gonna be a good move.
So if I could, and I will send out an invite to council, there'll be one day which hasn't been set, but will likely be July. July 6th. And I will be inviting counselors, so there will be a presentation for all the IT users, and they'll walk through some of their protocols and some of their services. So in a nutshell, they'll explain how to contact them directly, more so for the staff. But if councilor members are interested, I will invite you. And they have some really neat stuff, let me leave it at that. So on your apparatus at home, you'll have, well, I shouldn't say counselors, because I don't know how it's configured for the counselors, but hypothetically, you will have on your apparatus a help desk, and there'll be 5 options. And if you've got spam, you can initiate a ticket directly to them. If you want to know, how do I do this, you can send them, how do I do this, and what's issued as a ticket. So let me clarify how we're currently dealing with the counselors, because I'm not sure how we're currently dealing with the counselors. But if you have desktops for sure that are connected, and we're pushing out to desktops at your homes,
We're not, though.
we're not, okay.
We don't access the town's networks.
Okay, so
Other
you're
than
totally
the
off
email
net.
server.
Other than the email server,
Yeah.
okay, but even with the email stuff, we'll see what heightened level of support we can get to counselors, so let me leave it at that. But anyways, they have a lot of interesting tools for everyone else that's connected to the network. So this is a work in process, if I could just bore you a bit. We'll be doing that, but the technicians are on site now basically doing a state of assessment. Part of my frustration as an organization, we have basically 4 different servers in the organization that don't talk to each other. So if someone in Public Works wants to send a report, they have to email it to Callie. They can't save it on the council report agenda. You know, so there's a lot of downtime and not good sharing of information between our sites in town. So that will be addressed.
So I guess my other question is, has there been any update from Canadian Fiber Optics in regards to getting fiber to the town facilities?
Yep. There's 2 meetings I've had with them, and at our leadership meeting this week, everyone by Monday will have to Callie and me a list of all facilities that we want to upgrade for internet. And we're also identifying potential Wi-Fi hotspots that we would install. So when you look at items like the lift stations, those will be receiving the functionalities to get high-speed Wi-Fi. Similar with the water plant. As we move into SCADA systems and improving them and doing more remote stuff. The high-speed internet is crucial to that. Similarly, hotspots at the arena, curling rink, and the like, to get public Wi-Fi, or campsite. People would pay $10 more a day for Wi-Fi, but we just don't have it. We're probably one of the few campsites that doesn't have it. So again, we're looking at upgrading those things in addition to our sort of core facilities. We'll be outreaching to other facilities too, so included on the list will be all town-owned facilities, even though they may not be programmed by the town. So I mean the museum, the library, any other municipal-related entity in town will be included, and I'll be having separate discussion with those groups on the financing of their aspects of their operations. But again, they are town-owned facilities, so we'll be looking at enabling them, and someone like the library would benefit greatly.
Aren't they on the government website? Not website, government,
Supernet?
yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be having those discussions. There may be some value of them moving to another provider.
Oh. Actually, I have another, you triggered another question.
Well, I haven't finished with mine yet, so.
Oh, sorry.
And then you can go.
Yeah.
So yeah, just when we're talking about, changing over to new technology and IT, I think it's just a heads up to council that we can expect to have some additional technology costs in the next budget, because the town is way behind in a lot of the technologies, and as we upgrade and get this, I think it's reasonable to expect some additional costs, because we've been functioning on the very low end of IT for a long, long time, and it's time to catch up, in my opinion, anyways.
Replace the 8-track there?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a good point. For instance, we're running tape backups for our computers, so it means someone has to functionally take the tape home at night and secure it off-site, and we're not backing up our servers off-site necessarily as well as we should. So there's tons of stuff that is on the work list. Let me leave it at that. And in addition, this is, so there will be additional costs, and some of those are, we've been sharing a lot of licenses, which is kind of sketchy. And if certain vendors knew, maybe. So there's some cleanup that has to happen, which will cost.
This is a public meeting.
Yes. Right, so we are correcting that, and it's an oversight. Again, the rules have changed dramatically in the IT world from vendors. Before you could share licenses, now there's new rules. Basically, if you've got a desktop, that has to be licensed.
You actually have to read the license? You can't
Well,
just say
for instance, it gets complicated because at the pool, we may have 3 staff using that same machine. Do they need separate licenses? No, but if they have their own email addresses, they do. So there's different rules. So anyways, that's that.
One of my other questions, you'd mentioned that there's some new staff hires. What positions did we hire?
Both in wastewater operations. Now, we've hired new staff. That doesn't mean that, let me say this, that we will continue to have issues with the positions that are licensed. So we only have 1 operator 3 on staff. We have 2 operator level 2s. No one coming up the ranks. So even though we've hired new staff, they do not currently have the certifications. They will be, being paid under schedule per se until they get certified. But there will be I didn't put in the report, but let me say, leave it that this summer will be very difficult for the wastewater operations because staff aren't going on vacation because we don't have anyone to backfill. That is an issue. So we may have to purchase service to allow staff to go on vacation because we don't have certified backup. So we will be looking for the county. We do have a preliminary draft agreement with the county. The cost of the county to do the services is higher than internal staff, and third-party providers such as Aquaterra out of Grand Prairie are significantly more higher. But the bottom line is staff need to get their vacations. So that will be a challenge. So good news is we've recruited a couple staff. The bad news is we can't recruit them at the level. We still can't attract level 2, level 3 operators. And that's a challenge.
By any chance, have you heard anything about the dog handler position for High Prairie? It's just kind of, I haven't heard anything, but I'm just wondering if anybody has heard anything on that. No? Okay, that was just, and finally, I just wanted to add, thanks to you and your staff for the barbecue. I thought that went off really smooth and was reasonably well attended, so thank you for that. You had another comment?
Now, when you were talking about upgrading our IT and stuff, are we looking at doing remote meter readings instead of having someone walking into everyone's yard? Are we looking at, once we get updated on our IT, that we possibly going to remote readings?
I'll speak to two issues. If you go back to the Appendix B, even though the water plant's being upgraded, staff had asked for that project to be referred, dealing with the upgrade. No, we are going to card reading only. So we will only be accepting debit or credit cards at the bulk fill water station. So when I talk about which I believe there's very few municipalities in the province that don't have that technology at their bulk water stations. We have significant cash handling issues there. The auditor will probably write us up in the management letter because that's one area they said your controls are fairly lax in terms of cash management and cash handling. That's an example. Part of the initiative, and this will be a discussion that I'll be bringing back to council at the August 18th committee of the whole meeting, is an update on those very issues and sort of the organizational transformation that has to happen in relation to IT. So it's not only the water plant, it's asset management, it's other areas of attention that need and focus. And there will be some challenges because of our current staffing mix to achieve these objectives. The good news is there are some staff that are embracing these initiatives, and like any change, there will be staff that aren't embracing them. But we, as an organization, I'm saying the council, and we'll be saying more on this at the August meeting, is there will be some challenges to do those type of things. Yes, why? I don't know offhand, but I know when our staff go to the water, wastewater conferences and the technologies that they're talking about that are on the street, we're probably one of the few that are still reading meters in the province. Again, there's a cost of doing the meter conversion, but there's significant long-term payback. The issue is what strategy to go from point A to point B. Some municipalities say, well, we're going to do total meter replacement, which is like a $2.5 million project, or we're doing a phased-in approach, but we need a strategy. And I advise staff in all functional areas that these technologies, we need to move on some of these for the sake of long-term cost savings versus and customer satisfaction, if you want to look at it that way. Me going to the bulk water with a roll of quarters, us paying our senior water operator to roll coins
After we just broke that roll and plugged it all in.
is totally ridiculous, right? So yes, those issues are being addressed.
Okay, anything else? Councillor Martins?
Sorry, Bill, I know we've had a lot of questions at IT, but I remember the conversation about moving from Trinus to someone else, WBM. Was there a cost savings, or what prompted the move?
Overall level of service, cost obviously being a factor. We are not seeing significant cost savings, but we're seeing significant improvements in areas such as cyber technology, firewalls, some of the issues that questions have already been asked. More importantly, staff will be receiving any Microsoft product. They currently have around 60 modules for training. Those are all free. They also have a proficient help desk to deal with, I don't know how to do this in Excel, how do I do it? They'll basically take control of the individual screen and walk them through remotely on how to solve their issue. So, there's a lot of benefits, not necessarily cost savings, but it's still within the budget with enhancements in, what the value we're getting from the organization. Again, they're aligned with AM, Alberta Municipalities. As they get more municipal clients, they will be sponsoring municipal IT user groups to share a lot of the common applications across municipalities, whether that's record management, asset management, other business systems that are predominant in the municipal world, right? So there will be, significant other spin-off advantages.
Thank you. And so you talk about in-house staff training. Are they learning this new technology, or what kind of staff training is going on?
We're currently not filling the treasurer's position, so that is training happening there. I'll give you a little example. Our tax person has never prepared the tax rate bylaw. They're totally capable, so I developed a little template for them, and it's plug and play. Here's the template, here's what you need to do, plug in the numbers, balance it, run it in our financial system. They have what's called the sandbox. Run it in the sandbox. It works. It's like a test site. They're more than willing to, the majority of the staff are more than willing to take on additional duties, but they've never had the opportunity. Some of the challenges in the finance area specifically are some of the staff duties were taken away from them and taken over by other staff, and that had resulted in not very positive outcomes. Let me leave it at that. So there's some retraining happening. There's some stuff happening. At the end of the day, if you look at, Shanda and doing accounts payable and Anita doing payroll, they will be the ones taking on the bulk of the transformation work. It may mean that one of their jobs will be backfilled on a temporary basis, because I don't plan to fill the treasurer's job in the near future, and I'm going to be running with that intern model to see if we can achieve efficiencies overall.
Okay, and finally, this might be just me, but what the heck is the acronym FRP? Or FRP? I must be missing something today.
That's, spelling error. RFP.
Oh,
Jeez, I'm racking my brain thinking I should know this.
Yeah, just
People banking services, okay, that's why we shouldn't use acronyms.
are we looking to look for another financial institution? Is that what we're looking for?
that's the whole purpose. Not necessarily look for another financial institution, but this has not gone out to the market for maybe 18 to 20 years. So generally municipalities for these type of service contracts, 5 years is, the norm. But for banking, legal services, assessors, generally you'd like to go out and test the market to see what value you can get from potential other suppliers. So that's the purposes of this exercise. I would expect the town to receive better value, even if it's the current proponent that has to rebid. So, even our current proponent will likely rebid, but obviously they know there's competition now.
All right, anything else for our CAO? Seeing none, we had the motion to receive for information. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to our FCSS report. Anybody who would like to make a motion on that?
I'll grab that.
Okay, Councillor Stamos.
The council received the FCSS May 2023 report for information, and I may be able to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions on the report? I have a question, not necessarily on the report, but just going back to those, the volunteers
Yeah,
things.
appreciate it.
What was the end result of that?
So due to the unexpected wildfires and FCSS playing an active role in the wildfire, all our meetings have been postponed. We have not met, but that is still on my to-do list.
Yeah, I think that was the report from last time, so, yeah, just wondering. Okay, anything else? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Going to municipal weed inspectors, Councillor Danaka.
I make a motion that council appoint Darian Cunningham, Shelley Henkel, Daniel Thompson, and Amara Dreffs to be municipal weed inspectors for 2023.
All right, we've done this last year, I think everybody knows why we're doing it. Any questions on it? All in favor? Carried. And item 14.3.
Can you use your mic, please? Thank you.
Item 14.3, a motion on the rental fees for GBC.
Okay, I'll grab it.
Okay, go
The
ahead.
council receives this report for information.
Okay. Okay, any comments, questions on this one? This was the one, yep, go ahead.
I'm just curious exactly what it is that they do, because I mean, I got the email and I kind of looked at what she sent, but I'm not exactly what is their purpose to coming to High Prairie to, I mean, it said to award grants or whatever, but what's the purpose?
Well, I read the same email that you did, but they used to be named the community,
Futures or something.
not future, yeah, but yeah, it was a different name, and I
Yeah.
had heard of them, and they do give out grants and stuff, but they're not really common. It's not that I'm hear of, or see much
Well,
of
I'm
them.
definitely gonna go and see what this is all about, because I do have the day off, so.
Oh, okay,
something like
yeah.
that.
I did send this information out to a couple non-charity organizations in our community.
Mhm. So how do people feel about waiving the fees? We got one there, and I guess what's the rationale for waiving them versus allowing them to come in and use the GBC for their event? Go ahead.
Well, only, I'm just looking at some of the information here. It says, extra funds saved from the sponsorship will go back into the grants to communities. So I guess that would be the saving there. Or for.
What's the charge, what's the rent there per hour at the Gordon Buchanan? Or daily or whatever rate we have?
Sorry, I can't remember. I think it's
This is just the
$60
auditorium.
an hour in that range. At the end of the day, if I could, through the chair, even though they're not-for-profit, they do have an administrative budget to cover administrative expenses, just like any not-for-profit. Again, council has a policy relating to fees. There will be a long list of requests from council. So what differentiates this group from any other not-for-profit group? So, so I think if council wished to do it, perhaps it would be more appropriate that you ask the administration to report back on the fees policies related to these groups, but otherwise you're going to have numerous requests coming forward from other groups, and there's a few in abeyance that haven't met the agenda yet, but may be coming to council.
Okay, any other discussion on this?
No, let's vote.
Don't see any. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to High Prairie Museum, 14.4. Was that your hand going up, James, or?
Well, I was scratching my head.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'll do.
Councillor Awake,
Following council members allocate the funds as follows. How much were they asking for here again?
$1,000. So is there anybody interested in sponsoring this event at the museum for $1,000? Councillor Danaka?
This isn't until September. I mean, we could ask Darlene to come to the next council meeting to sort of give an explanation of what she plans, if people need more information before they decide if they want to donate or whatever. That's just a thought.
Okay. For me, I've got enough information on what's going on, but that's just me. I don't want to. I mean, we know that they're holding an event that they're looking
It's
for.
their
money.
6th annual. I've never heard of this before, and they've never come for sponsorship before. It's
Yeah,
their
no,
6th
They
annual.
haven't come for sponsorship before that I am aware of.
No.
I think it's the 6th annual Culture Days, not necessarily a bench show.
So they've made it bigger and better this year, and they're looking for funding to help make it happen. So the question is there people willing to contribute to it? Councillor Dunn is willing. We got 3, 4. I would chip in a little bit. Is that 5?
Yeah.
5? But 5 would be $200 each. Are people all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to, you did not want to fund this one, okay? Just want to make sure we're not missing you on this. So 5 at 200. So you made the one. Oh no, sorry,
I did.
James made that. Do you want to?
Yeah, we'll amend it to $200 coming from Councillor Dunn, Wyko, Yashishin, Tanaka, and Mayor Knesset.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? All right.
So are we still gonna get a presentation on this or no?
Well, I mean, that's up to you. If you'd like to have a presentation on it, we can ask.
No.
That's, no. I mean, for me to make the decision on $200, I didn't need that, but if we want a decision on what this is gonna include and get some more information, we can certainly do that. Or request it. All right, moving on then to our verbal reports. And we'll start with Councillor Tanaka.
Couple. On the 8th, I attended the Forest Resources Advisory Committee meeting. I didn't know really what to expect. I thought it was going to be an update on West Fraser and Toko's operations, but apparently that's not it. So basically, they had 4 things on the agenda. There was an update from the Bird Observatory. There was an update from the Fire Center and Forest Health, but they really didn't have much because the person that was supposed to be presenting, of course, was tied up with fires, so there was nothing there. Summer plans for the companies, again, nothing really concrete because they can't really get into where their fiber is until they can and have a look at it. They'll know more depending on the burn status of the trees. And then the last presenter was a fellow by the name of Vincent Jankunis. He's an archaeologist, and basically the government has mandated historical resource management for forestry, so they hire independent companies like this archaeologist, and he goes in and he looks at where they're planning to harvest and does digs, etc., and possibly finds historic sites in those areas that need to be assessed and addressed in their forest management program. And the only other one that I attended was the seniors barbecue. Again, thanks to Shanda, Callie, Kareen, Ramona, Councillor Dunn, Stenhouse, Nutrition, Panasic for coming out. It was, the attendance seemed down this year to me. That I had, at one point I counted only 50 as opposed to prior years, but I'm not sure why the senior bus didn't come from the lodge this year. I'm not sure, but those people that were there thoroughly enjoyed the meal. Compliments continually on the salads and the burgers. It was well enjoyed, and the door prizes were well received. I move my report for information.
Okay, any questions or comments for Councillor Tanaka? All in favor? Carried. All right, Councillor Dunn.
So we attended last Monday of March, May, last Monday of May, attended the Children's Resource Council meeting, and in that meeting we discussed the programming and where that was going. Also got some final numbers on the auction that they had, and it was close to $7,000 that was made, and so it was beneficial. I also really appreciated the fact that as an organization we were involved in community that maybe not a lot of people were aware of. Opening up the center for families to come in, donating games to the different hotels and stuff where families were staying and things like that. So, yeah, that was that meeting. Then I attended the seniors event and really enjoyed it. I was giving them probably the funnest job out of anybody's, and
Got all the glory.
and got to interact with a lot of the seniors and had a lot of fun doing that. So really appreciate the work that the town staff put into organizing that and making it happen. I would say that there were more than 50 because people were coming and going, and I know I definitely gave away more than 50 ice creams. So, but and then lastly, on Monday, June 12th, I attended the meeting for our Waste Management Authority. We talked about, we awarded some transfer station supervision, operational contracts. We awarded the regional landfill site and scale house operations and maintenance contracts. And we did receive a financial report, which I will turn over to the town. Just for your information, waste management is lucrative. Didn't think that was such a thing, but it's the possibility of it becoming more lucrative for us and our partnering communities is looking pretty solid. We actually had reports from, but they were in camera.
Say what?
They were in camera, so I will not report on them here live, but I'll pass that to Bill.
Good, so that's one more of those outstanding audits that we need to finish our audit. That's good.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, that's the only one left? Okay, so we should be able to get ours done now. Good.
Yeah.
Do you want to move your report?
Oh, sorry, I will move my report as presented.
Okay, any questions or comments for Councillor Dunn? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Martins?
I have no report.
No report. All right, over to me. Had a Heart River Housing meeting dealing with the Falaire project, the build there. They had all of the bidders and submitted it, so we looked at all of the bids and they awarded the bid to the lowest bidder. So that will be getting started fairly quickly. Attended the seniors barbecue, that's been talked about a lot. And the other thing that I've done is I started that asset management training that's gone on, that you can do online. And it's very good. I would really encourage you, if you've got any time to get going on it, you can work through it at your own pace, but it is really, you know, we were talking about just like, you know, well, we have these lift stations. When are we going to get the next one? And it puts all of that stuff into a really nice plan at the end of the day, right? I mean, to get there and you get a nice plan and you're not surprised anymore. And then part of that management or the asset management is coming up with some maintenance schedules and all kind of, you know, they talk about that kind of stuff where it'll save you money, you'll know what's coming in the future, you can be proactive and not reactive. And it talks a lot about how it can work, and it relates it to, you know, being fairly simple, and so you can get your head around it. And so I really recommend, we've got that link so anybody can get started. The first introductory one is only about 15-20 minutes to go through the introductory one, and then they have another more in-depth one that you can work through, and it gets into quite a bit more detail, but it's also good. I haven't quite finished that one, but that one takes a bit more time. I'm going to say it's probably 2-3 hours to get through it. But well worth the time to work through it, and we have that free contract to go through it for another little while. But it also, and we, you know, it makes me, you know, I was talking with Bill and saying, oh, where are we at with ours and our asset management grant that we got? But I think we got to start looking at applying for more money while the feds are still giving it out, and applying on more asset management grants so that we can speed up the process to get us into asset management being something that we do on a regular basis. Upcoming, we've got Canadian Fiber Optics meeting tomorrow, Heart River Housing meeting on Thursday, and a Northern Alberta elected meeting on Friday. So got quite a few coming up. But I move my report for information.
I have a question.
Oh, okay. Councillor Wakel and Councillor Stenhouse.
What time is that fiber optic meeting at? 'Cause I don't think I got the notice for it. Unless it's paired.
Let me tell you here. I think it's 1:30. Yeah, it is 1:30.
I'll see if I can sneak out of work for a little bit to
Okay,
jump on that.
sure. Councillor Stenhouse.
Didn't we take this asset management course before, like with, like an actual, like in the fire hall with somebody at a flipboard? No, not, it was a different, it was last council. We've taken this before.
I don't remember that. I can't remember, like, asset management, like, we might have had an introduction to it, or somebody talking about, you know, we need to move on asset management. And one of the things, like, we do know, we had Minister MacGyver, remember, he was saying, if we don't have an asset management plan, you're not gonna be getting any grants from the province. He did make that statement a couple of times, so get moving on it, like he's made those comments, but as far as us having any asset management, I mean,
We talked about it.
yeah, it's something that we really need to move more on as a town, and keep pushing and to move towards that more and more. Anything else? Move my report for information. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Stenhouse.
I do have a report. So on June 2nd, I attended the Northern Lakes graduation in Slave Lake. That was very nice, and something that I noticed myself for rest of council, that when this comes up again, being that our mayor was representing Northern Lakes College, we should have someone else representing the town. There was a lot of every community that has a Northern Lakes College had an invitation, but not everyone showed up, and they did acknowledge the people who stood up, who came and represented their town. So take note of that when it comes up again, that we need someone to represent them. And on June 8th, Donna, I went to the Toco West Fraser open house that they had at the Legion, and that's where all the updates on their progress. They had wonderful maps of the fire, and what had happened was, every year they have to submit their plans and their contract. They had just submitted them on May the 3rd, May the 5th, the fire broke out, so everything was canceled. So now, what they wanted to present at their open house, they had to modify it, because now their logging plans have changed and it's gonna be into salvage and stuff like that. It was a really good, informative station. They had both Toco and West Fraser there presenting theirs. There's still Toco doesn't predict to be up and running till the next year with their expansion. And, yeah, I move my report for information.
All right, anything for Councillor Stenhouse? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Wakel?
None of my committees have met there, so I'll have two tomorrow. I'll have the fiber optic if I can make it, and there's a peace library thing in the evening as well that I'll be hopefully able to sign into, so no report.
Okay. Councillor Yashishin?
I didn't have any meetings, but I did attend the seniors barbecue. As mentioned, a big thank you to everybody that put that on. It was great, and it was great to see all the folks out there. So it was a nice afternoon for a couple hours or hour and a half there, and that's my report.
All right. And any questions, comments for Councillor Yashishin? Do you want to move your report?
That's a good idea. I moved my report.
Oh, did you? Sorry, okay, it's getting late. All in favor? Carried. And with that, meeting is adjourned.
7-2.